Your life is probably not where you want it. You feel stuck, you feel weak, and you are looking for answers, but you are doing so in all the wrong places. If you are looking for a genuine way out, a real path to power, not more empty talk, then you must get it through a very strong will and a hard look at yourself. So it is about time to look your weaknesses straight in the eye in order for you to really start building the life you are truly meant to live. If you truly want to understand yourself, you must confront your own reality, and you must do so while being absolutely serious, if not even desperate. You need to acknowledge that your life is not what you envision, perhaps not even close to what you fundamentally require. And by require, I mean a life so unfulfilling that the agony it causes has twisted you into someone negative, suspicious, sour, holding grudges, unable to connect, punishing others for their strengths out of sheer envy, and seeing negativity everywhere but within your own core. And you must understand that these are genuine deficiencies that you need to quickly overcome. So you need to sit down and have a talk with yourself and try to answer this. All right, I am prepared to receive a hard truth. What specific action am I taking that I know is detrimental, that I have the power to change, and that I truly would change if I were honest? You need to deeply think about this with genuine intent. And by doing so, an answer will emerge. Likely not one you welcome, but certainly the one you need. And that answer will help you highlight the minor failings you have overlooked. Just think about what Carl Jung already pointed out. He stated that modern individuals miss the divine because their gaze is too high. So as an example, imagine your own untidy bedroom. You are there attempting a frank conversation with yourself and stating, "This place is quite chaotic, isn't it?" Your immediate thought might be, "I am above such unimportant details as tidying my room." If that's the case, then understand that that is nothing but pure ego. If you feel superior to managing your own immediate surroundings, how will you ever manage anything of greater scale? So perhaps you need to begin by addressing the most basic tasks, and this approach genuinely yields results. Because when you initiate these tiny adjustments, truly small, practical, real-world corrections to flaws you recognize, your progress will be astonishingly swift. And in order to achieve such swift progress, you must first command a measure of respect. You must earn some dignity. Your existence matters to other individuals as much as it does to your own self. You possess a crucial function in the grand design of existence. Consequently, you have a moral duty to maintain yourself. You must look after, support, and be kind to yourself with the same dedication you would show to a person you deeply cherished and valued, because that will help you carry yourself consistently in a way that fosters respect for your own being. However, every individual is significantly imperfect. Everyone fails to meet ultimate standards. If this undeniable truth meant we had no obligation to care for ourselves as diligently as we care for others, then everyone would face constant harshness, and that outcome would be far from good. It would intensify the world's existing deficiencies, which already cause any honest man to question the fundamental fairness of existence, making things even worse in every aspect. And that cannot be the correct way forward. And to handle yourself as if you were a person you are obliged to assist, you must first reflect on what would genuinely benefit you. This is not about your fleeting desires. It is also not about what would give you temporary pleasure. Because picture this, each time you offer a child a sweet treat, you bring that child a moment of happiness. That does not imply your sole duty to children is to supply them with confections. You must ensure children clean their teeth. They must wear appropriate warm clothing when venturing out in the cold, despite their strong protests. Because the goal is for you to guide a child to grow into a person of character, reliable, aware, capable of genuine interaction, able to support himself and others, and to prosper while doing so. Then why would you believe it is permissible to do any less for your own self? You must look to your future and ask, what could my life become if I were genuinely taking care of myself? What kind of work would push me and make me useful and supportive, allowing me to carry my portion of responsibility and reap the benefits? How should I use my discretionary time to enhance my well-being, broaden my understanding, and build my physical strength? You need to clearly identify your current situation to begin plotting your path. You need to understand who you are to grasp your capabilities and to fortify yourself against your weaknesses. You need to know your ultimate objective to reduce the disarray in your life, rebuild structure, and unleash the powerful energy of hope upon the world. You must decide your destination so you can advocate effectively for yourself, preventing you from becoming bitter, revengeful, and harsh. You have to define your own guiding rules to protect yourself from others who might unfairly exploit you. and to ensure you feel stable and protected as you engage in your work and leisure. You must impose firm discipline on yourself. You must honor the commitments you make to yourself and provide yourself with rewards so that you can develop self-trust and maintain motivation. You need to figure out how to conduct yourself towards your own being so that you are most likely to develop into and remain a person of good character. It would indeed be a worthy aim to improve the world, because a perfect state, after all, will not simply appear without effort. We will need to strive to create it, and also to make ourselves stronger so we can face the severe tests and intense scrutiny that guard its approach. So never discount the strength of a clear purpose and a set path, because these are commanding influences and capable of turning what seem like unbeatable challenges into manageable routes and growing chances. And in order to do so, first you must build up the individual, and to begin with your own self, you need to know clearly who you are. Then sharpen your character and select your goal while clearly expressing your way of being, because as the notable 19th century German thinker Friedrich Nietzsche keenly observed, a man who has a reason for his existence can tolerate almost any way of living. You could influence the world's current path, guiding it slightly more towards a better state and slightly further from a worse one. After truly grasping what a personal hell means, investigating it thoroughly, especially your own, you could choose not to head in that direction or manifest it. You could aim for something different. You could in fact dedicate your entire existence to this endeavor. This would provide you with a profound purpose that would give your struggles meaning, help make up for your imperfections, and substitute your feelings of inadequacy and unease with the natural assurance and direct confidence of someone who has rediscovered how to live with integrity. You could start by acting towards yourself as if you were an individual you had a duty to support. You are going to need to invest real work into your existence, and for that, motivation is key. So, what are the possible origins of this drive? Well, you can examine them through the lens of the Big Five personality traits. If you are outgoing, you seek companionship. If you are cooperative, you desire a close personal connection. If you are more competitive, you aim to conquer challenges. If you are curious, you wish to participate in new experiences. If you score high in anxiety, you prioritize safety. These, then, are all potential wells of motivation you can tap into, shaping them to fit your unique makeup. But then there are broader areas of life you need to evaluate. So imagine your life as you desire it to be in 3 to 5 years, assuming you were taking proper care of yourself. What would you require from your friendships? What would you expect from your closest relationship? How would you prefer your family life to be structured? What are your ambitions for your career? Critically, how will you manage your time outside of professional obligations? And how will you maintain your mental and physical well-being? It is also wise to consider your use of substances like alcohol, as this is an area where things can easily go wrong. Alcoholism, for instance, seriously impacts a significant percentage of people, so maintaining control there is important. Then, perhaps you will be able to formulate a clear picture of what you want your existence to be. This connects your goal, once it is clearly set, to smaller, manageable actions you can carry out. And these smaller actions become satisfying based on their direct link to achieving the larger goal, which activates your internal drive system. And remember, we are all dopamine-driven creatures, an incentive system that propels us. It functions most effectively, generating positive feelings when it sees you making progress towards a goal you genuinely value. So what does that mean for you? It means you better have a goal you truly care about, because without one, you cannot generate any real positive drive. And, in theory, the more important the goal, the more positively charged the small actions related to that goal become. Consequently, this means you wake up in the morning with energy for the day, prepared to take action. Your task is to clearly define your ultimate long-range aspiration. And it might also be useful to identify a situation or outcome you absolutely want to avoid, so that the fear of not succeeding motivates you just as much as the desire to achieve, because that is also a powerful force. You need to choose objectives that make you think, if my work could lead to that, it would absolutely be worth the effort. Because the constant question is, why do anything at all? Doing nothing is simple. You just remain still and take no action. That is truly effortless. The real question is, why should you ever choose to act? And the answer to that must be that you have decided through some process that the action is valuable. Then, the following question could be, well, where should you seek out these valuable endeavors? One place is your own natural inclinations. Another approach is to observe what it is that people gather over time that holds genuine worth throughout a life. So examine what elements and perform a detailed review of the basic parts of human life. And I have already listed them. You generally need family. You need friends. You might not require every single one of these, but you should certainly aim to have most. Family, companions, career, learning objectives, arrangements for your time outside of work, focus on your mental and physical condition, and so forth. These are the components of a full life, and if you are missing all of these things, well then, all that remains for you is hardship and pain. And that is clearly an unfavorable situation for you to be in. It was simpler for individuals to excel at something when a greater number of us resided in small country communities. One person could be the prom queen, another the spelling contest winner, a math expert, or the basketball hero. There were typically only one or two car mechanics and a few educators in their specific fields. These local achievers could experience the confidence that comes with being a winner. This might be why individuals who grew up in small towns are statistically more prominent among highly successful people. If you are exceptionally talented now, say 1 in a million, but you grew up in a place like modern New York, there are likely 20 others just like you. And most of us currently reside in urban areas. Furthermore, we are now digitally linked to all 7 billion people on the planet. Our structures of achievement have become incredibly tall and narrow. Regardless of your skill level in any area, or how you assess your own successes, there is always someone else out there whose accomplishments make yours seem minor. You might be a fair guitar player, but you are not Jimmy Page or Jack White. You most likely will not even be the main attraction at your neighborhood bar. You are a decent cook, but numerous truly great chefs exist. Your mother's special dish, no matter how popular it was in her home village, simply does not measure up in an era of fancy culinary creations. Some flashy criminal has a Gaudier boat. Some driven executive owns a more intricate automatic watch stored in a more expensive mechanical case. Even the most beautiful Hollywood star eventually finds herself playing the envious older queen, constantly watching for the next young sensation. And what about you? Your job feels dull and meaningless. Your ability to keep your home tidy is mediocre. Your preferences are questionable. You are heavier than your associates, and people actively avoid your social gatherings. Within us, there exists a demanding inner voice, a spirit that recognizes all of this. It is inclined to loudly present its criticisms. It attacks our average attempts, and silencing it can be exceedingly tough. There is no lack of unoriginal artists, musicians who cannot hold a tune, cooks whose food is harmful, middle managers with inflexible personalities, uninspired novelists, and tiresome professors full of stale ideas. Things and people vary greatly in quality. Terrible music distresses listeners universally. Poorly constructed buildings collapse during earthquakes. Vehicles of low quality endanger their occupants in accidents. Failure is the consequence of having standards, and because being average has genuine and severe repercussions, standards are indispensable. We are not, and never will be, the same in our talents or what we achieve. A tiny fraction of individuals create the vast majority of everything valuable. The top performers do not get everything, but they certainly get most of it. And being at the lower end is not a desirable position. People at the bottom are dissatisfied. They tend to fall ill there and often live and die unrecognized and unvalued, their lives largely unfulfilled. As a result, the self-critical voice in people's minds spins a disheartening story where existence is a contest where one's gain is another's loss. It is for reasons like these that an entire wave of social psychologists suggested that maintaining positive self-deceptions was the sole dependable path to mental well-being. Their core belief was to use a falsehood as your protection. A more depressing, miserable, and downbeat viewpoint is hard to conceive. Things are supposedly so awful that only tricking yourself can offer salvation. But here's a different plan, one that needs no fooling yourself. If it seems like things are always against you, maybe the game you are playing is not set up fairly, maybe even by you without you knowing. If that voice inside makes you doubt if your actions, your life, or life itself is worth anything, maybe it's time to ignore it. If this judging part of you says the same bad things about everyone, no matter what they've done, how much can you really trust it? Maybe its constant talking is just noise, not real understanding. There will always be people who are better than you. That is a common excuse of someone who gives up easily. Like saying 1,000,000 years from now, what will it matter? The right answer to that is not well then, nothing matters. It is any fool can pick a length of time in which nothing seems important. Telling yourself you don't matter is not a deep look at life itself. It is just a simple trick of a mind looking for an easy escape. You must grab your damn hard times and carry them, and try hard to be a good person so you don't make them worse. We've all heard or seen a lot of the terrible things people have done to each other. It is more than you can really understand. It is so awful. So, you for sure don't want to become that kind of person. Now, do you have reasons to be that way? Yes, you have many reasons. Goodness, there are plenty of reasons to feel bitter about your own life. Every person you know will die someday, including you, and there will be a lot of hurting along the way. Much of it seeming random. It is like, yes, it is no shock you feel wrong. It is like, act on that feeling and see what happens. You will make everything you are complaining about much, much worse. There is this idea that hell is a pit with no bottom. And that is because no matter how bad things are, some foolish person like you could find a way to make them a lot more terrible. So you think, well, what is the answer to that? Well, you accept it. That is how life is. It includes hurting. That is what old teachings have always said. Life is suffering. So what do you do when faced with that hurting? You must try to make it less. So for goodness sake, get your own life in order so that when your father dies, you are not just falling apart in a corner, but you can help plan the service and you can stand strong so that others can lean on you. That is better. Don't be a sad victim. Put yourself together, and then maybe if you put yourself together, you learn how to do that. You know what is wrong with you if you are willing to admit it. You know there are a few places you could say make a bit better, that you might even be able to fix in your current not perfect state. And so you might make yourself a bit better. But then how do you win against the hard parts of life? You do that by becoming a better person. And yes, that is hard. It needs taking responsibility. Because if you asked anyone, do you want a life with meaning, where everything you do matters, and you are going to have to carry that heavy load? Or would you rather just ignore the whole idea of meaning, and then you have no responsibility because who in the world cares? And you can wander through life doing what you want, pleasing quick desires, thinking how good that will turn out to be. And you stay stuck in a place of no meaning, but at least you carry no responsibility. So which of these choices will you pick? Well, ask yourself which of these you are really trying to get, and you will very quickly see that it is not the main part of your inner self that is chasing this whole meaning thing, because look at what you have to do to get that. You must accept the truth that life includes suffering, and you must pull yourself together when facing that truth. During my own hard times in the deeper parts of me, I am often hit and filled with surprise by how much people can make friends, love their partners, parents, and children, and do what is needed to keep the world working. I knew a man who was hurt and left with a disability from a car crash. He kept working for a local service company for many years after it happened. He worked with another man who, for his own part, dealt with a worsening nerve problem. They helped each other while fixing the service lines, each making up for what the other couldn't do. This kind of quiet, everyday courage is, I think, more common than not. Most people are dealing with one or more big health problems while still handling their lives well and without complaining. If anyone is lucky enough to have a rare time of personal ease and good health, then he or she usually has at least one close family member facing a serious problem. Still, people manage and keep doing hard and tiring jobs to keep themselves, their families, and their neighborhoods working. To me, this is truly amazing, so much so that a feeling of deep thanks is the only right response. There are endless ways for things to fall apart or stop working completely, and it is always people who are already carrying some heavy load who manage to keep things going. They deserve real and honest respect for that, because it is a non-stop amazing show of inner strength and not giving up. So you must push yourself to give yourself first and those in your life credit for acting in good and thoughtful ways, and also for the real interest and kindness they show to others. People are so weighed down by the limits and hard parts of life that I am surprised they ever manage to act right or think about anyone but themselves at all. But enough people do so, allowing us to have nice things like heating in our homes, running water, amazing computer power, electricity, enough food for everyone, and even the chance to think about how our larger neighborhood and the natural world itself are doing, that powerful nature itself. All of that complex system which protects us from cold, hunger, and dying from thirst always moves towards breaking down due to natural wear, and it is only the constant watchfulness of careful people that keeps it working so incredibly well. Some people fall into the bitterness of feeling wronged and a dislike for life, but most fight against doing so, even with their hard times, dreams not met, personal losses, weaknesses, and things they see as flaws. And once again, that is an amazing thing for those who can see it. All people, and the separate persons who make them up, deserve some understanding for the terrible weight that truly pushes down on each one. This includes some understanding for facing the sureness of death, the power of governments, and the hardness of the natural world. It is a way of being that no simple animal faces or puts up with, and it is so hard that only a godlike being could fully handle it. It is this understanding that should be the true fix for feeling bad about yourself, which, while having some reason, is only one part of the full and correct picture. Bad feelings towards yourself and towards all people need to be balanced by a thanks for set ways and how society is built, and by a feeling of wonder at what normal, everyday people do, not to mention the truly amazing things done by those who are very talented. But one might say, well, I have gone part of the way down this road, and I have found out it is wrong. So how do you know the difference between that and just giving up? Well, that is a really hard question. It's a problem of what's right and wrong, because it is not right to keep going in a way you now know is bad, but it is also not right to give up and use that reason as just an excuse. And how do you know the difference, especially since we are not fully clear about why we do things? So that is truly a tricky moral situation. So one of the main ideas I tried to follow is this. You are allowed to change your way as long as the next thing you try is just as hard or harder. This acts as a check against just giving in. So you try to teach yourself to be organized so you can move forward in a chosen way, so that when you find the right path, you can truly promise yourself to it. And that for sure needs a time of learning and practice. And in some ways, exactly what you learn during this time might not be super important as long as it is hard. And so that acts as a kind of connection between seeing right and wrong as something that can change and seeing it as something that stays the same. So you need a goal to dedicate yourself to, and then you must, when you dedicate yourself to it, force all your separate parts to move in a unified way and aligned in a single direction. It is an act of unification, and then having achieved that unity, you can apply that focused energy to a range of different objectives, but you must first bring it all together, because that aligns with how we grow. Just look at young children, for example. They begin as a scattered collection of urges and feelings, somewhat in conflict with each other, and then they can combine those into focused activities they can manage by themselves, and subsequently they integrate that with activities they begin to undertake with other individuals. And all of that is about bringing things together. It is not about suppressing parts of yourself. It is not about holding back. It is about integration. You must strive to become integrated, because then all the forces driving you are pulling in the same direction, and you are far more likely to reach your desired destination, and also far more likely to define a worthwhile destination. So that is another thing that is something additional that those with a traditional mindset must impart to younger individuals, which is you must cultivate discipline within yourself for you not to become a follower, but so that you might become a leader. And this internal discipline, this unwavering structure you are forging within yourself, is not a weekend project or some casual interest you pick up when you feel like it. It becomes your 24/7 operational mode, the very core of your being, if you are serious about elevating yourself beyond the sad average state of most men. You do not just flirt with discipline, you commit to it with the intensity of a man whose life depends on it. Because frankly, the kind of life worth living actually does. The power you are cultivating inside, that razor-sharp clarity and unbending will, must become the chief executive officer of your entire existence. Each morning presents a fresh mandate to uphold this standard. Every challenge you face is another opportunity to demonstrate the strength of your internal governance, to prove that you are in command, not your fleeting emotions or the lazy whispers of comfort that drag others down into a pit of mediocrity. Weakness is always searching for a crack, a moment of inattention, to slither back in and undo your hard-won progress. Your relentless focus acts as the elite bodyguard at the gates of your mind, ensuring only resolve and strength are granted entry. This unending vigilance is the clear dividing line between a master of his destiny and a pathetic slave to circumstance. Now, with this iron discipline firmly established as your foundation, you must grasp a fundamental truth. A life of genuine significance, of palpable, earth-shaking meaning, is not some trinket you stumble upon by accident or discover through passive observation. It is an engineered masterpiece. It is something you must actively construct with your own hands, fueled by sweat, grit, and an unyielding focus on objectives that genuinely demand the very best from you, pushing your known capabilities to their absolute breaking point and then beyond. This means creating tangible value in the world, building things, achieving outcomes that will stand as a bold testament to your efforts long after you have departed this plane. Forget the empty calories of fleeting entertainment or the cheap thrill of superficial praise that so many chase. The profound hunger for true, lasting meaning can only be satisfied by the hard-earned taste of victory in endeavors that genuinely count for something, endeavors that contribute to something larger than your own immediate gratification. The truly disciplined man does not merely consume resources and mark time on a calendar. He becomes an active force for creation and progress, laying down foundations that future generations might build upon, establishing a new, higher standard for what is humanly possible to achieve through sheer force of will. And understand this clearly. Even armed with a warrior's mindset and an unbreakable resolve, you are going to encounter serious setbacks. You will experience failure, perhaps spectacularly so. This is not a signal to retreat. It is not an indication that your ambition is misplaced, nor is it an excuse to fold and surrender like the countless others who lack genuine fortitude. Failure is an inevitable and essential component on the path to any significant achievement. It is precisely in these moments of intense pressure that your true character is smelted, tested, and either definitively proven or exposed as a mere facade. The undisciplined masses, The weak-minded herd, they crumble and scatter at the first sign of genuine adversity. They immediately seek out scapegoats. They weave pathetic narratives of victimhood to soothe their fragile egos. But you, fortified by an inner strength forged in the fires of self-discipline, will process these events through a different lens. For a G, failure is not an ending. It is critical intelligence. It is raw, unvarnished data. Each time you fall short, provided you analyze the situation with cold, clear-eyed logic, you gain priceless insights into your own weaknesses and the flaws in your strategy, allowing for powerful recalibration. It is absolutely vital that you internalize this hard truth down to your very bones. The world in its vast, indifferent entirety could not care less about your feelings, your intricate justifications for inaction, or the long list of supposed injustices you believe you have endured. It operates as a cold, impartial arena that responds only to decisive action, demonstrated strength, and the consistent delivery of concrete results. You have a choice. You can spend your finite and precious time on this earth, lamenting perceived unfairness, whining about how the deck is stacked against you like a perpetual victim. Or you can choose to stand tall, take complete and unconditional accountability for your life, and commence the demanding but ultimately rewarding work of constructing your own desired reality, forging it piece by piece through sheer willpower and strategic effort. True personal power, authentic sovereignty over your own existence, begins to blossom the very instant you stop looking for external validation, cease asking for permission to pursue your ambitions, and no longer delay your efforts waiting for some mythical perfect conditions to magically appear. The empowered man understands he must create his own opportunities. Therefore, this is the ultimate challenge laid bare before you, equipped now with a profound understanding of discipline's absolute necessity, the crucial drive for building real meaning, the unyielding nature of true resilience, and the undeniable command to seize personal agency. What are you actually prepared to do? This very moment serves as a pivotal juncture, a definitive crossroads in the trajectory of your existence. You can opt for the path of passive acceptance, allowing your life to be dictated by external forces and your own undisciplined impulses, ultimately fading into a forgotten statistic of mediocrity. Or you can make the conscious, difficult choice of a true warrior to rise with unshakable resolve, to take absolute command, and to become the deliberate, powerful architect of your own formidable destiny. Your untapped potential is not some polite suggestion. It is a roaring inferno of capability lying dormant within you, waiting to be fully unleashed by the pure, concentrated force of your will. The world is not looking for more compliant drones. It is crying out for strong, decisive leaders, for men unafraid to build, to conquer, and to bear the weight of great responsibility. The time for timid excuses is over. The era for relentless, top-tier execution, for complete mastery of your domain, starts now. So step up, take what is yours, and start winning.
Hello guys, this is the manager of this channel speaking. Don't forget to subscribe to help this channel grow.